Hi, I'm Ollie Pope, England cricketer, and this is Cricket Unpacked. Do you practice sledging? No, not really. I'm not a massive sledger. There's less and less of it, I think, in the game at the minute. Franchise cricket, you kind of get to know the oppositions pretty well. It's not as much as probably 10 years ago. How many hours a week do you practice? During a test week, probably maybe 6 hours, because you generally train for 2 days and then go into the game. Then day after a test is always a day off. So probably around 6 hours during a test week. But then if you've got a week off, it could be sort of 10 to 14 hours, roughly 6 during a test week or during the series. What type of cardio work do cricketers do? A fair bit of running. I think when you get time off, it's generally watt bike sessions and running sessions. We call them tempos, and try and get some turns involved as well. Our testing's generally the 2K time trial, so however quick you can run that. Yeah, lots of tempos and shuttles, and not necessarily long sort of 5 to 10Ks, but because that's not very reflective of what we do. How do different pitches / grounds affect how the game is played? Are very different. I think in England, generally they're not too dissimilar. Generally it swings with a bit of seam. For example, we're at Edgbaston here. It generally is a little bit lower. Last week we were at Headingley, which bounced a bit more. So for me, I try and cut a little bit more at Headingley, cut and pull, and then at Edgbaston, almost look to try and play a little bit straighter. How much do you hear the crowd when playing? When you're batting, not too much. You're kind of pretty in your own zone, doing your thing, and very focused, especially when you're playing your best. And then in the field, I guess when you're out on the boundary, that's when you can kind of enjoy the atmosphere and take it all in, especially somewhere like here at Edgbaston, one of the loudest English crowds. Obviously got the Holly stand, which can get pretty rowdy on the weekend. So it's nice to enjoy it when you're in the field. And when you're batting, enjoy the good moments if you're raising your bat or anything, but yeah, you're pretty focused, so not too much, but it always gives you that little bit of extra motivation. What factor sunscreen do you wear during a test match? Oh, I try and wear your 50. I guess you're out there for 6 hours in the day. Yeah, you got to look after your skin. I wear the zinc as well. Obviously you see a lot of cricketers with zinc cream on their nose, lips, and sometimes like ears as well. Obviously look after your skin. Don't want to be getting wrinkles when you're older. How do you deal with jet lag on tour? I think we toured, New Zealand last. I think generally when you're going somewhere like that, you have a pretty good build up. You're out there 2 weeks before. So for us, it's just trying to make sure we do some light training, and just, as anyone deals with jet lag, just try to stay up in the day. If you have a little nap, you have a little nap, but just crack on and do as much as you can to make sure it's gone within 2 or 3 days so you're fresh for the test match. What's the average week of training like for a cricketer? During a series, not too intense. You kind of train for 3 to 4 hours, 2 days out, and then a fairly light training session so I'll always gym 2 days out, maybe do a run, bat and catch some balls in the field, and spend a lot of time at the ground. And the day before, kind of get in, mess around a bit on the outfield with a football, and then maybe bat for just half an hour before, try and feel good and save your energy for the 5 days coming. But then I guess when you got a week off, that's your time to really get your technical work done. So you can get in the nets for an hour or two most days, a 4 or 5 day block, and then try and get a couple of gyms done, a few running sessions and that kind of thing. So yeah, during the test match and the lead up, not too heavy. What do you do if you need the toilet during an innings? You're in a bit of trouble. It's never actually happened, touch wood, just because I think weirdly when you're out there you're kind of sweating and you're so focused, and then it's like, right, you never really find yourself in that position. I think it's just more in the outfield, and you can always run off. So I think when I'm waiting to bat, I'm kind of every 2 or 3 overs going for a wee or something, just to make sure I don't need it when I'm out on the pitch. What do players do during rain delays? You'll get your cards group, which that'll probably be maybe 5 or 6 of the boys. They'll go out into the dining room and play some cards, a few pranks. Get Marcus Trescothick hide some sausages in his cricket bags, or try to get them somewhere that he doesn't want them. He's got an obsession with sausages. And then other than that, just chat a bit of rubbish. The phones are all handed in at the start of the day, so no one's kind of sitting on their phone, and anything on the TV, you might flick that on as well. Do umpires refer to you by name or number? Always name. I think in international cricket you generally have the same 4 or 5 umpires, so you get to know them pretty well over the years. So yeah, always by name. How often do you check the score during an innings? Try and not do it too much, and try and we talk about taking the scoreboard out of the equation, which just makes us kind of stay a bit more present in the moment. And while I'm batting, try and not do it too much, just trying to treat each ball as it comes. So yeah, obviously when the game's tight and you're either in a run chase or you're trying to defend a score, then that's when you obviously want to stay on top of it, but it shouldn't really change what you're trying to do in the field for me. But with the bat, yeah, it's trying to make sure I chase whatever's on the scoreboard down. How many sets of whites do you get through in a test match? Depends. If you're batting and it's hot, you probably change at tee, so might be 2 or 3 a day if you have a real good knock, and then whites in the outfield every day, so you're probably 6 or 7 during the week. The bowlers might be slightly more as well if they're sort of sweating through their shirts in the hot countries. is, do cricket teams have a fine system like in any other sports? We don't really have a fine system. No, we're pretty relaxed with it. I know some of the county teams I've played with do. For example, if you rock up in the wrong kit to turn up in the game, but no, we're pretty chilled. Yeah, there's some guys sort of rock up in flip-flops. Other days, yeah, you're dressed in your polo and looking a little bit smarter. But no, I think as long as the sponsors are on there, keeps them happy, then there's no real fines to be had. How do you split your batting and bowling training if you're an all-rounder? Yeah, I think everyone's got a pretty good routine and structure to their training. 2 or 3 all-rounders in the team. So I think bowling, once the season's up, series is up and running, you might see guys 2 days out bowling and then maybe not the day before, just to make sure their bodies are ready. But they might bat slightly more because it's slightly less taxing, obviously, on the body. So yeah, I think it's probably my guess would be a 60-40 split between batting to bowling. So more batting than bowling, I'd guess anyway. What do you do while you're waiting for your turn to bat? Try and just stay as relaxed as possible. If you're waiting to bat, it could be 1 ball, it could be 100 overs, hopefully the latter. So it's trying to stay as fresh as you can and just kind of chat a bit of nonsense with whoever you're waiting to bat with as well. I don't generally watch live, so I'll go sit in the changing room and chat to normally Joe Root, because he's coming in after me and he's pretty much doing the same thing. I think it's just good for me just to keep my sort of not nerves down, but keep the right levels of watching, but not watching too intensely. If I end up watching live, I end up just sort of watching too much and it kind of drains me a little bit too much. So it's my way of not getting too into the game before, so I save the energy for them out there. But other guys you'll see come out and sit on the balcony and like to watch, but we've always got the TV on, so you can always see if the ball's swinging and what the bowlers are doing and which bowlers are bowling. So yeah, try and stay relaxed but have a rough idea of what's going on in the game. How early do you have to be ready in gear to go out next to bat? Generally, if there's 2 wickets needed, batters will have their thigh pads on, whited up with their spikes on, and then when you're next into bat, that's when you just put your pads on, and then leave your helmet and your gloves on the side, and then you obviously just put them on. Generally what people do is when they're walking out to bat. Yeah, when there's 1 wicket, that's pretty much when you're ready to go. How much does it hurt getting hit by the ball? Yeah, that depends where you get hit. Obviously the padding's good. Grey Nicks look after me well, so generally if it's gloves or pad or sort of helmet or anywhere, it's not too bad. But yeah, I guess the rib cage and the private parts can be pretty sore as well. But yeah, mainly rib cage and arm is the worst places. No, the padding's pretty good otherwise. Is it difficult / awkward to run in so much padding? No, all the kit's really well fitted and we're so used to it. So I think you see when you're a kid, if you wear pads that are slightly big, you kind of see the kids waddling down to the other end, and it is pretty slow, but no, we make sure we can move as quick as we can when you got your pads on. What is more satisfying, smashing a 6 or stealing a risky run? Definitely smashing a 6. I think the feeling when it kind of comes off the middle of the bat and it goes with a good trajectory, you don't even have to watch it go into the crowds, always by far the best feeling. But I guess if you're going to 100 or something, if you can steal a quick single and kind of run through and enjoy celebrations, that's pretty good as well. What do you eat for lunch during a test match? Generally kind of things like chicken, fish, maybe some steak out with pasta, trying to fuel up as much as you can. For me, if I'm batting though, I don't actually eat a lot at all, just because for some reason your body just doesn't want to get too much in. So I just have a protein shake and a banana if I'm batting, and if I'm batting all day, then I'll get to the end of the day and barely have eaten a thing, just because it's quite hard to get it in time, so you fuel up at the end of the day. Do you actually drink tea during a tea break in a test? Some do. I normally have coffee just to keep the caffeine levels up, so I normally have coffee, lunch and tea. Sometimes a cup of tea if it's a rain delay or something. A few of the boys will if they don't want to have too much coffee.